Welcome to r/Tales from Tech Support, where we get to have a little chuckle at the technologically disadvantaged. Like me. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got a story for you. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I posed an informal poll to you guys on the last video, asking your opinions about me talking and introducing myself in the beginning and things like that. And the overwhelming majority of you seem to really enjoy the personal touch and the fact that I'm not a bot. Thank you. And I do want to let you know that I do read your comments. I read every one of them. Now, some of them take longer because YouTube, for some reason, likes to kick them into the held for review section. And I don't always think to click on that to check. Anyway, keep your opinions coming. Comments, suggestions, questions, whatever. And just know that I will read them all. Eventually. Let's read some stories. Entitled Grannies by listener Patrick. Oh yeah, and these stories are from comments from my previous videos. So, good stories. Reminds me of the four little old women. I intentionally avoided the word ladies, not a descriptor I would use based on their behavior. I had back to back the other day. I wanted to quit. Memorized lines might as well have been a recording. Both are blue, is that normal? I asked, both what? In many different ways. Nope, same exact phrase each time. Then that I'm incompetent because I can't read her mind. I need to be telepathic. Next one is, my TV won't turn off. I asked, does the light on the remote light up when you push the power button? Ignored. Same thing. More impatient. I asked, did you try the power button on the TV itself? Oh my, I'm an idiot and need more training because I can't turn off her TV, not our issue, remotely when she won't do a single stitch of assisting with troubleshooting. Now I'm also supposed to be telekinetic over thousands of kilometers. Two more that my trauma has prevented me from remembering. Something about fixing a line issue outside their house. Again, from thousands of kilometers away. And having a tech come ASAP because nobody else matters. Only her TV. Let's just say that if I were telepathic, kinetic, and the rest, I sure wouldn't be answering their calls. And likely wouldn't have been working for the last 40 years in IT, networking, field support, and electronics. You know, as a consumer myself, you want to be made to feel like your issue is important. And I'm quite sure that most techs will treat you that way. But, you know, you got to be willing to help yourself through the process too. If they say, you know, if they ask you questions, what have you tried? What are you doing about it? What lights do you see? What lights don't you see? Whatever. You got to be willing to help out, you know, a little give and take, because they're not telekinetic. They're not telepathic. Help me to help you. That's basically what it boils down to. That's like taking your car to the mechanic saying, oh, it sounds funny. Oh, okay, what kind of sound is it making? I don't know, it just sounds funny. Well, that's not helpful. So you can let the mechanic drive your car for a week so you can figure it out? Yeah, I don't think so. Error 54, where are you? By the quiet one. So I have a tale from my mother back before she retired that fits here. She was trying to print something and it wasn't working, and she was getting more and more frustrated. Mom. Error 54? What the hell does error 54 mean? At this point, one of her staff comes up behind her and, God bless him, without missing a beat, he says, error 54 happens when the director is yelling at the photocopier. Stand back, I got this. He then fixed it for her, and of course all her frustration went right out the window at that comment. Happy Mother's Day, everyone. They must have had a pretty good working relationship for him to be able to walk up behind her and do that. And at least she caught on to it and eased up and took a breath, relaxed. Can your mom come teach my wife how to do that? I love you, honey. Trouble in the Message Center by Indigo. Oh yeah, this is about the inappropriate hold sounds, because it wasn't music. It was actually inappropriate sounds from the Skin channel at a Las Vegas hotel, I believe, when people were put on hold. So yeah. The first story reminded me of something a friend of mine did. About 25 years ago, he was fulfilling his military service. He worked in communications and would regularly man the phone and switchboard on base. Now, we all have moments where we get ideas in our head that lead to some questions before we actually proceed to act on said idea. 1. Is this a good idea? 2. Am I going to get in trouble? 3. Is this funny? His answers to these questions were 1. Probably not. 2. Maybe. And 3. Yes. So what he did was to set up some hold music while he transferred person with rank X to person with rank Y. But not any hold music. No. He chose Trouble in the Message Center by Blur. When he told me this, my first reaction was, ooh, I love that song. My second reaction was, wait, as hold music? My third reaction was laughing out loud. He didn't get into trouble, but was told not to do it again. Some people just don't appreciate good music. So I went and looked this song up while I was typing all this up, and it's actually kind of a catchy tune. I don't know I'm trying to think of what it reminds me of, but I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of songs in the 80s and 90s, you know, when grunge was starting to come onto the scene and some, you know, different bands trying to tap into a little bit of that punk side and things like that. So I don't know, this falls somewhere. There's definitely a vibe. If you get a chance, go research it on YouTube. It's a pretty cool song. Okay, back to the regular stories. I didn't tell you you could close my ticket. I work in account provisioning for a medical setting. I understand that some users are not very tech savvy, so I spend lots of time using Text Expander to give information as detailed as possible and to ensure I leave nothing to guesswork. We have a rule of 3 contacts with no response, then we close the ticket. I contacted this user 3 times with a question about the request and no answer, so it got closed out. I then get a very snotty email stating, among other things, I didn't tell you could close my ticket, and you never contacted me like the resolution states. The user then proceeds to answer my question I emailed to her, proving that she did indeed get the emails. Liar! Liar! I asked if she followed the instructions I gave her in the first set of emails on how to map a drive she requested access to. In the emails, I gave her a snippet from Text Expander explaining everything as if they were in 2nd grade. Example, click on File Explorer. The icon looks like a manila folder. She then writes back, I don't know about all this tech garbage, so why don't you do your job and help me? Normally, if a user's struggling, I'll reach out and assist, even though our SOP, Standard Operating Procedure, is to transfer tickets back to the service desk so they can help the user instead of our tiny team of 5 getting tied up. Well, this lady didn't get my help. Do my job? Alright, I'll do it to the letter of the law then. Now she gets to wait 2 days for the service desk to get around to her ticket. Meanwhile, she's been emailing me complaining. Well, lady, don't bite the hand that manages your access to technology. Now wait and suffer by the hands of Standard Operating Procedure. Long time ago, I worked for a Sears authorized company. I don't know if you guys know what that is. So basically, up in through the early 2000s, there were companies who would specialize in doing jobs just for Sears. So my company, the company I helped, the office I helped run for this company, we did roofs, entry doors, storm doors, garage doors, and fences. That was our thing. There was another company that did kitchen and bath remodeling, all for Sears, under the Sears name. If any of you have ever worked for Sears or for any entity that's attached to Sears in some way, you know that Sears, if the customer complains enough, will beat the crap out of you, and you end up losing your shirt because somebody else complained over and over and over. Doesn't matter if the job was done well, correctly, to spec, above and beyond even. If they complain, they get the job over again for free. And eventually, if they keep complaining, they got it for free. Like, they got a full refund on top of all the extra work. Well, my first job there was quality control. I was the quality control manager. I would, check up on the job sites, make sure things were going smoothly, check with the coordinator, make sure all the materials were going to be on site on time and everything like that for our contractors. And then I would go out to the job, either if it was a big job, I would go out partway through and check on things, and then again at the end and take pictures of the job and take notes and make sure everybody's pretty happy with what's, transpired. Well, we had this one lady, and I guess I inherited her. She was calling in complaining. She must have started when she bought her Sears house from the catalog back in 1890. She would call in and complain over and over and over, and there was never any real... She didn't know what she was complaining about. She just had general complaints. She just was not a happy person, and she wanted everybody to know that she was not a happy person. And I kept getting these reports emailed to me and faxed to me, mostly faxed. Hate fax machines. Every day about this lady calling into Sears Corporate over nothing. There was nothing even on there. It didn't say, oh, she didn't like her fence. Oh, she didn't like her garage door, or there's a ding in it. One day she called in. She did give me something specific. She said, she got a wooden fence installed, a 6-foot privacy fence, 1x6 boards, with the dog-eared tops. The little corners are clipped off. It's a big style back then for privacy fences. And she was talking about how the wood grain in each board was different. said, lady, you do know this is cut from trees, right? Like, there's no way to make all those boards look the same when they're made of wood. One day she called in. She somehow got a hold of my desk number and called me directly at my desk. Thank you, Sears. Well, what this lady didn't realize after she called in was that I knew how to put her at the bottom of every list we had. Basically, I was willing to take a hit on my numbers and let her sit at the bottom of that list until the day that I left that job. So she could call into her heart's content. And I wouldn't answer my phone either. I stopped answering my phone altogether. And she could just go to voicemail over and over and over again. Anyway, people are nuts. Don't mess with the guy that's trying to get you a resolution. That is the whole point, basically. Riddle me this. How do you check the status lights on a computer when you don't know where it is? Today I got a ticket about a user who was unable to connect to a remote working station through MSTSC. In the ticket, the user specified that she knew where the machine was physically and had checked that it was turned on. I thought, good, the basics are already covered. I connect to her laptop, check the IP she's trying to reach, try and reach it from the client server. No dice either. After a few more tests, I conclude that the machine must be offline, probably an Ethernet cable that's disconnected. Here's how this part of the exchange went. Me. Okay, I think the machine might be disconnected. We're going to check. Client. I checked already. It's connected. Me. Can you locate the Ethernet cable and check if there are lights on or blinking right where the cable goes into the computer? Client. Yes, it's lighting up. Me. Okay, let's try unplugging or plugging the cable again. Client talking to someone else. Do you know where the computer is? I can't find it. At this point, I'm a bit miffed, but I find it in me not to ask how she just checked the status of the lights if she doesn't know where the lights are. Me. No problem. I'll give you a second to find it. Client. I can't find it. There's tons of stuff in here. If I unplug the wrong thing, I'll turn everything off. Me. Don't unplug anything then. I think your computer simply turned off. You just need to turn it on. After a few more minutes of huffing and puffing, she found the computer, turned it on, and oh, miracle! She was able to connect to it. Rule 1, or 0, whatever you want to say. Basically, all clients lie. She had no intention of trying to find the machine. She was looking for the simplest out she could, and if she'd just looked for it herself to begin with, it probably would have saved a good 15-20 minutes of her time anyway. And yours, but Why isn't my poster printing big? I'm not exactly IT, but kind of wound up in the role wherever I work. I used to work for a small department of my city government and quickly became the go-to IT guy, mostly because I was the youngest there by 20 years. Part of our job was print marketing, so we had this giant poster printer. One day the receptionist, who doesn't normally design posters, but wanted to make one for an internal event, called me and said, I made a poster on Publisher, but when I print it, it comes out small. I figure it's just a formatting mistake, and I go take a look. The poster printer has cranked out a good 4 feet of paper with a 5 by 5 inch square printed in the corner. Again, I assumed she just didn't size it correctly and walked to her desk. When I asked to see what she's doing in Publisher, she opens PowerPoint and shows me a slide she's designed her poster on. After I explain that she needs to use Publisher and that PowerPoint won't work for this, she exclaims, But I clicked on the P! To be fair, the icons are both P's. Lol. Yep, gotta make sure it's formatted right on whatever program you're using to do your design work before you can print it the size you want. Just put me through to the MD. No. Okay, so this is tech support adjacent. In the 1990s, I worked for a software house that sold licenses and consultancy services for a niche database. At this time, I was the senior dev in the company. Mobile phones weren't really a big thing. Coming back into the office one day, wandering past the reception desk, I see the receptionist looking flustered on the phone, and she motions me over to her. There's a guy on the phone wanting to speak to the MD and isn't taking no for an answer. I say to her, put him through to me and make a dash for my desk. People involved. Me, an entitled salesperson. Me. Hi, Bagpuss Boy speaking. Really? Bagpuss Boy? Puss? Whatever. How may I help you? Entitled salesperson. Yeah, put me through to the MD, please. Your stupid receptionist wouldn't do it. Me. Okay, you're going to have to give me more info on the nature of the call. Entitled salesperson. Look, this is an important business opportunity I need to discuss with MD's name, so you please put me through. Me. No, you're still going to have to give me a bit more on what this is about. Entitled salesperson. This is a private business matter between him and I. Just put me through. Me. Without more information on what you want to discuss, I can take your name and number and ask him to call you back. Entitled salesperson. This is crucial. I speak to MD's name right now. Put me through now. Me. Give me your name and number and I'll ask him to call you back. Entitled salesperson. I can't believe this. In all my years of business, if ever I've contacted companies to speak to important people, I've always been put through. Why is it so hard for you to understand that and just put me through? Me. So you're telling me if you called Microsoft and asked to speak to Bill Gates, they'd put you through? No questions asked? I think not. That won't be happening here either. Entitled salesperson. Right, well, I'll just call back later. Me. And I won't put you through later. Entitled salesperson. This is me. Bye. Click. He didn't call back. Yeah, I love it when salespeople call through and act like they're the most important. Better yet, are the salespeople, and I got this for ages after I first got a cell phone, and I don't even know where these people came from. But I would get a call. I'd pick it up. Hello? Flip phone. Hello? Guy on the other end. Hey, John, how are you? I'm good. Good, man. Yeah, how's the weather up there? And he'd start this whole conversation, and meanwhile, I'm thinking, who the hell is this guy? So after a couple of seconds of letting him do his thing, I'd say, yeah, I'm all right. Who's this again? Yeah, this is Steve from such and such in Florida. Oh, click. I mean, want to play my best friend and act like we've known each other for years. And all this guy is doing is he's got my first name and my phone number, and he's trying to act all, buddy, and, I guess that's a good tactic to get people to buy stuff. I don't know. I didn't. So, does a VPN require internet? For the record, it happened to an ex-colleague of mine quite some time ago. I was in the same office, and we're still laughing about it to this day. For another reference, we both took care of every level of tech support. No escalation possible, be it printer issues or major network outage. We had to take care of it. So we get a call from an employee of the company. The issue is the VPN doesn't work. So my friend does the troubleshooting. Is the VPN online? Do we have an issue on our internet provider? Can we use the VPN? What about from the outside of our network? Do we have more complaints about this specific issue? Everything points out towards everything works fine. Then my colleague uses Quick Assist. Our director was close to his money. And the user reports that it fails too. Conclusion. The issue is on the user's system. So he begins the troubleshooting, and in the middle of it he hears the employee say, I don't understand. I cut the Wi-Fi and the VPN doesn't work. You read that right. She believed that for a VPN to work, she had to cut internet on her computer. Needless to say, this is now one of the most recurrent inside jokes of the service. That's just like people taking a company laptop home. They have no internet service at home. They take their company laptop home and try to work and call in complaining because they have no service. Well, it's not up to us to get you service. Depends on your contract, I guess. But they just assume that because the laptop's set up to connect to the company network that it should just work wherever because it's wireless. Yep. Amazing. Well, hey guys, I hope you enjoyed these stories, and if you did, do me a favor. I know I sound like I'm begging when I do this, but I kind of am. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. Maybe consider subscribing to the channel so we can get our numbers up a little bit. And click that little bell icon so you don't miss the fat guy with the beard telling you stories. See ya!